How are we all this morning?
Really good, thanks.
It's funny asking that question, isn't it, when all you can see is people's faces or their names and not be really sure, like we can't all answer at once. It would be a gaggle of noise. But look, welcome this morning to the beginning of Charleston EdX 2021. The numbers are creeping up, but we have quite a tight schedule in this first session. So I'm going to start and people will come in as they're ready. Our theme for the conference this year is connecting in a disruptive world. And it's lovely to see that so many of us are stepping in to connect this morning. We've ahead of us 3 really inspiring mornings. We're together, but we're apart, but we're all focusing on teaching and learning here at Charleston EdX 2021. The conference this year has come together as a collaboration again between the Division of Learning and Teaching and the Division of Student Success, but also as a collective work from many people from DLT, from DSS, from Division of Library Services and from the faculties. Everyone has shared their time and their goodwill to bring it all together. Ahead of us, we have over 60 presentations about teaching and learning, stories of practice that highlight the many ways we work to engage our students and to provide them with the best learning experiences and to inspire them to go on with further learning. With 2 keynotes with really big ideas for us to draw on and chew on, and a final panel that will help us to make sense of it all and point us into the future and hopefully excite us all in terms of what the possibilities are. The Conference Hub provides program details for you. So if you want to know what's on or also how you get to any of the Zoom rooms for the presentations, the Conference Hub is the place to go. It allows you to add your choices directly to your calendar as well, so that you can actually have them there appearing for you. Each session that you attend as a presentation will have a facilitator to help you. They'll be in situ, they'll be right there answering your questions, helping with any technical details and focusing us on the big picture of the conference. We're going to collect our feedback this year in situ. Lachlan has just again put the link to the feedback form in the chat room. If you open that one and fill in your name and keep it open during any session, you'll be able to respond to that session. Close it there, and the next session you'll open it again and respond to the session that you're in at that point. It's a way of us collecting all of that data. There's so much to talk about in terms of teaching and learning. So many things that we can discover and we can try, and so much benefit from actually sharing together in terms of practice, from listening to the stories of others, from seeing what happens and from thinking through how we might apply what someone else has done in our own teaching situation. Here we have so many people who are gathered to think about what happens for our students. We all have the best experience for our students at hand. That's what we want. I hope that you do find the next 3 days exciting and inspiring. I'm going to hand over now to Helen Hobbs from the Division of Library Services for our acknowledgement of country this morning. Thank you, Helen.
Thanks, Denise, and good morning, everyone. I'd like to personally welcome all of you to Charleston EdX conference once again this year. My name is Helen Hobbs. I'm the Director Client Services at Charleston Library. I'm privileged to live and work in Wiradjuri country in Wagga Wagga, New South Wales. Wagga Wagga means place of celebrations. How appropriate, since this conference is a celebration of our teaching practice and a celebration of the learning that we facilitate. Now, Uncle Lloyd Dolan, hello Lloyd, tells me that these hills just above where I am on campus have always been a place of learning. In the Seven Sisters storyline, this hill is where 2 of the sisters, the Mimi Bulla, stopped for a while. It's always been a place of learning, always will be. I acknowledge the custodians of this land, the Wiradjuri people, and we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land where you are today. I pay my deepest respect to all First Nations elders, past, present, and emerging, and acknowledge First Nations peoples who are present at this conference virtually today or who are listening later. Enjoy the day and enjoy the conference. And back to you, Denise.
Thank you, Helen. Just looking at our numbers, we're still slowly creeping up. Janelle, this is the point in time when I will invite you to introduce our Vice-Chancellor to officially open the conference. I'm just looking to see if our Vice-Chancellor is here.
Not yet. I think I should wait.
I think you probably should wait.
I think
Yes.
so, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. As we go through the conference, when you open each Zoom room, you'll be muted and your camera will be off, and it'll be an opt-in situation for when you want to speak. So that means that we can cut out background noise and make sure that we can clearly hear our presenters. Please make sure as you're listening to any presentation that you do keep your microphone on mute. It is nice though to open your camera so that we can actually see faces, because as presenters it's always lovely to have responsive people, even if they are in a little square on your screen, than to have not be sure how many people are actually there listening. There are a lot of opportunities here for questions as well during the conference. We're keeping it on interactive so that you will be able to ask questions during the presentations or at the end of presentations. Our two keynotes are also going to open the sessions for questions as they finish their presentations, and they will give us different perspectives on teaching and learning. Janelle, at this point, I'm still not sure whether we have our Vice-Chancellor.
I don't think so. So I think, and we are running a little bit early, so I know that Renee was assuming she'd be in at about 1:45. So
yeah, okay.
Let's go.
I take this opportunity to welcome Jacqueline Clements, the Executive Director of Division of Student Services, Lucy Webster, who's our Acting PVC Learning and Teaching, and Janelle, who's our Acting Provost Continuing, I think, Janelle, as the leaders of the areas where we've collectively formed the conference. I'm going to invite anyone who would like to make a comment at this point while we're filling in time about what's ahead of us or what you're looking forward to at the conference. Don't be shy. Jacqueline?
Janelle has her.
Oh, sorry, Janelle.
No, I'm good. You go. I'll just.
Okay. I just think it's worth noting that this is the second year that this conference is a collaboration between DSS and DLT. And just want to express what a joy it has been to organize this conference together. And I think it is a very great development of how we are becoming more collaborative across the university and how we try to achieve our goals together and how we seek that integration between our academic jobs and our professional staff jobs. And I just want to wish everyone a really nice conference, and I hope that it will be as exciting and interesting as it was last year. I know last year I didn't know what to expect, and it started, and as the conference progressed, it was harder and harder to get the smile off my face. It was just an amazing experience with such great and interactive contributions and such motivation. And I hope that this year we can bring that same energy to this conference. It's been a hard year. I actually just found the Christmas card Lucy wrote me last year. It was on my desk when I went back to campus for the first time. That Christmas card was still waiting for me there, because I haven't, I live in the greater Sydney area, so I haven't been on campus for a very, very long time. And the card said, it's been a hard year, but I'm sure 2021 will be better. Little did you know, Lucy. But despite all that, we managed. We got our students through. We did so much strategy work. We set our university up for success. I think we've all had a little cry. We've had really, really tough times. But I also think that we have worked together better than ever before. So we have something to be very, very proud of. And with the end of the year approaching now, and this conference both celebrating our success, but even more so looking forward to next year, I think let's not expect that next year will be easier, but let's say it will be interesting and that we will learn a lot from it, and that we have gathered a lot of insights in this past year, how we can do our work better. And I would like to invite everyone to join in that way forward, and to really embrace this conference as a great forum where you can get all these new and fresh ideas, where we can recharge ourselves and really get that spark for the work we do back. And then after a nice Christmas rest, we will be up for probably not an easy, but certainly a very interesting 2022.
I like your inspiring pep talk, Jacqueline.
We need
Very
to, Janelle.
important that we keep on the positive side, especially driving into the end of the year. It's so exhausting, you're just hanging on to that break. But I totally agree. It actually is a bit of a luxury to enjoy sitting and learning and hearing from your peers. So I hope everybody gets to enjoy the next few days to learn from each other.
I'm trying to work out what to write on this year's Christmas card, Jacqueline.
Yeah, well, I'm expecting one now. I don't expect one back. I'm really not that great at sending cards. I'm more like a little chat here and there.
Excellent. The only comment I would make, Denise, off the back of what Jacqueline said, Jacqueline mentioned the strategy, and yeah, Janelle and Megan and I have had the pleasure of going and talking to all of the schools, and I think a number of the divisions as well, certainly for DLT, but I can't speak for the other divisions because I don't know. But I do think what would be really interesting is, as you're attending the sessions over the next few days, to think about making that connection with our strategy. And if you do see something, absolutely brilliant, to reach out to the people that are engaging, in shaping that first kind of 3-year plan of the strategy, to say, have you seen this? This is already going on inside our institution, and here's the opportunity to draw on that and scale it. So yeah, they're the sorts of things that I would love to hear. The trouble with a program like this is that you can't attend every session. And so it's very much about relying on our colleagues. I have blocked out my calendar the morning for the next 3 days. I'll be definitely attending as much as I can, but there were a few times in the program like, oh, which session do I actually attend? So hopefully we can spread ourselves across the concurrent sessions and make sure that there's people to listen, but then people to talk to about those ideas that are presented, particularly across the different parts of the university. So that's probably, Denise, what I would add to what Jacqueline said, and I will start thinking about my messaging for what 2022 will hold, Jacqueline.
Yeah, I think we've been telling each other for years now that it will get easier. So probably won't, but we do get more experience and more skills to deal with those setbacks and to deal with those challenges. And I think today is also, or the next 3 days, is one of those opportunities where we can get these insights and these skills that will give us a certain mindset that, and insights that will help us deal with it. So I'm really, really looking forward to it all.
I'm just noticing in the chat the lovely comments and thank yous to people across the university, again reflecting what you were talking about, Jacqueline, in terms of collectiveness. Like we're all working in the same way together, and to have the sharing across the different divisions and faculties is a wonderful way to pool our expertise and actually explore what's possible when we do all work together.
Yeah, and it's something I've worked at another university too, and this is something I really, really like about Charles Sturt. And we're very modest here, but I think we underestimate our strengths in reaching out to each other and working together. And I feel I really thrive on that vibe. And it's something that's very unique to Charles Sturt. And I think that will really help us to deal with whatever comes next. The fact that we are so active on Skype, send each other those messages the entire day around. Hey, what do you think about this? Can you help me with that? Do you have a resource for the challenge I have in front of me? Do you want to work with me to solve what's coming at me now? I've never had a no. And I think it's just such a great aspect of this university. And we're so often we see the negative, we see what we're not good at or what we're not doing well. I think we're really underestimating how strong we are as a collective and how our students value us and how we support them. And I think this university really, really excels in that. And I think a lot of universities are very, very jealous of how we do that.
Jacqueline, I agree with you. And I think one part of the strategy that certainly has been discussed is around making sure we spend more time actually singing our own praises and celebrating what we do well, because we are known across the sector for our excellent teaching and for a connection with our students that other universities are really jealous of, as you say, and they can't quite put their finger on how we do it, but I think it sort of comes back to the ethos that sort of drives everything at this place, and certainly the great people that go over and above every day. So I'd like to think that we start to think about how we can start to showcase more externally the great work that we do and share across the sector. I think that's going to be really important for us. And it's timely because, at the moment the sector is changing so much that it's going to be really important to be able to stake our claim in what makes us so unique and so vibrant, and why students want to come back to us over and over again. So it's our collective responsibility to have that voice, and I'm hoping that we can come up with some of those ideas together as we drive the strategy. And I've noticed that Renee's joined us. Welcome, Renee.
Hello, Janelle. Really pleased to be here. Really pleased to see you all.
Yeah, welcome. I'm going to just briefly introduce you and we will get going. So it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Professor Renee Leon, our Vice-Chancellor, to open our Teaching and Learning Conference, the CS EdX, today, which will run over the next few days. This conference brings together the entire university community, and it showcases the innovative teaching pedagogies our staff are using to teach and inspire our students, and is a demonstration of the commitment and the passion our staff have for our students and their learning experiences that really connect them to our university. It is particularly important to have Renee sponsor CS EdX because it really signifies the importance of our core business of teaching and learning and the student experience to the broader university. And I know it goes a long way, Renee, to inspiring the staff on this particular conference, but all of our teaching staff. So welcome and thank you.
Thank you very much, Janelle. And it is a real pleasure to get to speak to this group because, as Janelle says, you really are the core of the university in the offering that we make to students and the contribution that we make to the education of people from our regions and who we hope will go on to work in our regions and enrich the communities that we are part of. It is a very exciting time for Charles Sturt and a particularly important time for the people who do learning and teaching. And I say that because, as you know, we are embarked upon the implementation of the university's strategic vision to achieve excellence in everything that we do. And in learning and teaching, we are not really looking just for incremental improvements towards being a bit better, but we are really looking for the innovative, the comprehensive, the exciting future of what will the students of 5 and 10 years from now want and need and expect from their university education? And how can we, in a really different world to the one in which probably all of us went to university, how can we best support students so that their education will be successful, but their whole university experience will contribute to their both intellectual stimulation and their well-being as we help to launch them into the next phase of their lives. As you know, my last role was in a large service delivery organisation touching the lives of nearly every Australian. And so we spoke often and focused our thoughts around and our work around the customer experience. And I really encourage you to be doing the same if you're thinking about our student experience. They will return from this very disrupted 2 years and they will be changed by it, just as we have been changed by it. They will be changed because they've spent 2 years learning partly online, and our once leading role as an online university, of course, is being colonised by other universities who've had to learn to go online and who've now probably realised the opportunities they could have to take a greater share of the online space. So our context has changed and students will have changed about what it is they now realise they want and need from their learning experience. And so we need to be thinking ahead about that, about how we can now make their return to campus desirable for our on-campus students, how we can get them out of their bedrooms and back into campus vibrancy. And for those who are students and who we want to continue to be a significant university for, how can we use everything we've learned in the pandemic to make sure that we are delivering online experiences that are engaging and meaningful and just as vibrant and worthwhile as the ones our on-campus students are having? It's also an exciting time for us because part of the university's direction is to engage much more outwardly with industry and with government about how we not only operate, but how we do our research and how we create course content and how we involve people from outside the university in course delivery. And the communications course that I had the great pleasure of launching a week or so ago in Bathurst is a good example of that, where we've used both industry input and distinguished alumni input to co-design the course, and we'll be using distinguished alumni in the delivery of the course as well. So that much greater engagement with others to ensure that our courses are relevant and exciting is something that will be part of our future. Of course, there's also challenges in all of that, as in everything that we do. We are, as are all universities, subject to a significant regulatory overlay about the quality and content of our courses, and we can't get carried away with letting industry design course content that will suit them without ensuring that we've subjected it to all of our processes that ensure academic quality and academic governance. And we have to work out how to do that in a way that's effective and that still enables us to keep the excitement and the richness of content that comes from the real world and from industry. We also have to work out how we make our content engaging and competitive with the content from other universities who are seeking, I'm sure, to poach from the Charles Sturt footprint by offering courses that can be done wholly online. So we embark upon the strategy not only excited about the direction, but also cognizant of the complexity of the environment that we're working in and that we need to keep on adjusting to, and knowing that this isn't going to be a once only thing. We won't develop a new approach to learning and teaching this year and then we can just set and forget it. We'll need to be constantly rethinking and reviewing what we're doing. And we'll need to be doing that not only with an eye to the knowledge that you all have of pedagogy and what works, but also with an eye to what our students are telling us. Last week, Executive considered some information about how do we get feedback from our students about their experience at university, which I really wanted to know. How do we know what their experience is like, both of university life and the support that they get and of the courses that they undertake? And it seems to me we've got a lot of work to do in this space to be really better engaged with our students so that we know what it's really like for them. I admire the research focus of the academics who design 100-question surveys to put to their students, but having two 20-something-year-old children myself, I can tell you they won't fill it in. And so we need to be able to develop more innovative, in-the-moment ways of assessing student response and experience so that we hear from more of them and can respond meaningfully to them about what they say. And so I do really encourage you to think about how you're going to build feedback into your courses all the time so that you know whether what you're teaching is hitting the mark. Obviously, 20-year-olds are not experts in education. You are. And so it's not that we just are running a popularity contest with our courses, but knowing whether the course is hitting the mark as a learning experience is a really important input for academics to design courses that will convey the richness of the content that you want in a way that students will genuinely understand and absorb. I want to conclude by just saying a little bit about my overall approach to how we should all operate within the university and to my leadership of the university, because it'll be relevant to how you go about the work of developing the implementation of the strategic vision. I'm very focused on us having a collaborative approach to these things. You will find that, and I'm sure today's and this conference's experience will show you often that wisdom and knowledge and innovation can come from anywhere in the university, and it's really important that you're exposed to other people's thoughts and ideas and open to seeing other ways of doing things so that you can get the best out of each other and the best out of our collective wisdom. And then, of course, there has to be collaboration across the university because no one can achieve anything on their own. The faculties are busy trying to teach, but they so need the Division of Learning and Teaching to be doing the work that you do, and the Division of Library Services and the Division of Student Support. All of those need to work together to make the student experience a really worthwhile one. And our enabling services and all of our executive need to understand what it is that you need so that we can work with you to ensure that you are enabled and empowered to deliver the best that you can. So collaboration will be my constant mantra. And if any of you aren't sure how to do it or what it means, this would be a really good opportunity to upskill on that front as well. Secondly, innovation is a really important theme for me and for the university. The world's changing around us all the time, and we can't expect to stand still and not be left behind. And so we need to be outward facing. We need to be constantly interested in what's happening in other universities and overseas and gaining the best of the knowledge from everywhere and trying ideas out to see what will happen and being prepared to innovate so that we can really be at the forefront and ensure that Charles Sturt is the place that everyone wants to go because they know they're going to get the best experience when they come here. Underpinning those kind of exciting things that we should do to make us really great, there's some things that often sound kind of procedural, but they're really important to make things work. One of those is I'm a big believer in there being clear, and strong processes for how things happen, and not processes that take years and reams of paper, but processes that are nimble and agile and flexible and workable and fit for purpose. And so I do encourage all of you to think about the processes that you have. Do they support collaboration and innovation, or do they just gum up the works and get in your way? So it's worthwhile, all of you, having a think about what processes, both of your own and of the universities, are really enabling you, because that's what they should be doing. They should be enabling you to achieve the important work that, after all, the university employs you to do, the important work of teaching and learning. And finally, all of this has to be underpinned by, and will, under my leadership, be underpinned by investment in people. We can't really expect that you're going to be up to the minute with everything that's happening if we haven't given you any opportunities to do professional development, or to build your leadership, or to build your capability. So investment in people will be a really key theme of what I intend to take the university through over the next few years. So I hope that gives you a bit of a feel for my approach, my leadership, my excitement about the work that you do, and my vision for what's ahead of us. And it's a vision that really very much depends upon all of you being actively engaged in how we're going to implement the university's strategies for student success and for the courses of the future. So that's all I wanted to say, Janelle, and I hope I haven't run over too much time. I think your keynote speakers arrived, which might suggest to me that I have run out of time, but I do really wish you all the best for what looks like a really fascinating and interesting and exciting day. And I hope that that will be what you'll also describe for the year ahead: fascinating, interesting, and exciting.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you. And I'll leave you to it. Have a great conference.
Thanks.